All right, so today I would like to show you how to deal with retargeting mocap from one character to the other. So normally, if you try to use a mocap like this, which has perfect hand contact, and you try to use the same motion on Pepe, it doesn't really work because if his arm proportions are different, his hands are way bigger. So what happens is if you put that same clip in story mode, you're gonna end up with something like this. The hands are going through each other. So instead of going through this and then fixing all this on a layer, you can use what's in Motionbuilder called we can use in Motionbuilder what's called retargeting. And what is retargeting is it's basically you're telling Pepe to follow the motion of, or to follow the character or the control rig motion of this guy, but you have extra controls on each limb, IK reaches, they're called, to control how much they're following, and you can actually animate them as well. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's delete the story mode clip to put back Pepe in T-pose. Just let me try to figure this out. I don't know why. Can I hide this? Hide video. No. Hide floating. Meeting. Yes, thank you. Okay. So where's Pepe? So Pepe is here. Whoops. No. Control rig. Cancel. Okay. So our character, we have two characters. We have this guy. This guy is called character. I'm just gonna rename him. I'll call him Max. This way it's clear. We don't keep saying. There's no control rig, so you don't need the control rig. We'll bake Pepe on the control rig after we're done. Okay. So Max is being, whoops. Oh, that's correct. Is he controlled? Yeah, he's being controlled by his own character, which is the bones. Yeah, the bones have animation, right? Okay. So we want Pepe. So right now Pepe, his source is his own joints. But what we want to do is we want him to follow Max's character. So we switch the source to Max. Setting the character Max as a source. The character creates a loop, please verify. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it still works. Yeah, it might be Pepe. Pepe is, the character is really old. He came with like maybe Motionbuilder 1. So his settings in the character might be a little bit outdated. That's why the error message popped up. So as you see, we have similar result than we had with the story mode. It's okay. By default, these are the settings. Once you change the source to Max to make another character drive Pepe, these are the default. So the hips are always 100% IK'd. The IK blend translation, IK blend rotation is always at 100%. The feet as well. The feet we don't really need to touch, so it's okay. But always these are the default ones. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna tweak the hands. Okay, so I'm gonna take the hand and start playing with the blend, translation and rotation. Okay, so I'll start with the translation. So as you can see, he starts moving. Where does he start moving? I'm just trying to figure out why is it going down so much. It might be, I think it's correct. I think it's in relation. It's a little bit low, but it's trying to get this this position of the hand here in local space of Pepe. Okay, so if I increase it, it goes a bit lower. That's probably because his bicep is way shorter than this one. So it's trying to compensate. That's probably what's happening. Anyway, you don't have to put it at 100. You can just put it to an angle that's close to the motion that's going on here. Or whatever you see fit. Like, it doesn't really have to be one-to-one with what the other character is doing. So I'll try to put, let's say, 50 or maybe 40 value for both, and see what happens. Okay. So now the position of the clap is, it's not up there anymore. It's down here. It's a bit lower, and it's a little bit consistent. Okay. So next what I want to try is I want to put some rotation. Okay. So let's see if I use the same value, 40, and then 40 here. It's a little bit better. At least it's like going in here. So next I'll try less. So this is without, and this is with. So you see the difference? See, without positioning, the hands will pass through more. But with about 40 to 50, they go through less. If I increase the rotation, it's better, but then it's breaking the wrist. So I prefer having something more natural like this. The pull, don't use it that often because it changes the body posture. Sometimes it's good, like in this instance, if you see without it, the legs are kind of hyperextending. So if you put a little bit of pull, it doesn't have to be 100, just enough to relax the feet. You can also try a bit of pull on the legs itself, but it doesn't look like it's changing. I think it's more the hands. What else can we do? We can try a little bit of the elbows. So if you notice, some of the effectors do not have rotation. The rotation is grayed out, so you can't use the rotation. Some of them are just position. Okay, so you'll have to just tweak the position. Okay, so looks like it affects the elbows. Again, it's always case by case. There's no magic recipe for these. You'll have to experiment because it always depends on the original mocap, where it's coming and where it's going, the input and the output. So you have to experiment with these, but it still beats the, you know, tweaking all this on a layer or trying to figure that out manually. So see here, this is a bad example of pull. If I'm trying to use pull on the elbows, it changes the mocap completely. See, now he's on an angle. So in this case, I'm not going to use the pull. What pull does, if you remember that this one here, when I take the hands and I move it to the extreme, it starts pulling all the other body parts. So this is what the pull does in this instance, instance as well. Next, I want to try, he's a little bit too like uh, backwards, like his spine. So I'm gonna try just to give it a little bend. For some reason, he's going the other way. I think Pepe's T-pose is really backward like this. So that affects any motion you put on it. So keep that in mind, guys, when you start looking at your characters you want to use for the previs. If the mesh that you choose has a weird bend in the spine and it's not a natural T-pose, then you're going to get that bend across any motion. You're going to be fighting with it. So let's see, like if I switch back to stance, see that bend? This is what's causing him to look like he's clapping like this, because the bend exists on the T-pose. It's not natural. So I don't think we can fix the spine with the retargeting here because of that. Yeah, see, he's going the other way. Maybe we can fix the head a little bit. No, same problem. Yeah, the head's not gonna work as well. I think the knees are okay. Yeah, that helps a little bit. I think maybe they were too out, so we can bring in the knees a little bit. So how does it look now? It's not too shabby, actually. But look what happened with sort of the end part. The end part, he looks squashed. But he doesn't look squashed with the original data. See? So something happened with the reach. I think it probably is the reach. So if I try to remove the reach, he goes back up. See? So what we can do here is we can animate. You can animate any one of these. Animate the values. Okay? So what I want to do, I want to keep it. Actually, it's there in the beginning too. So I want to put it to, let's say, a lesser value here, and then as soon as he starts clapping, bring it up. Bring it up there. So where does it start? So maybe here. I'll select the IK pull. I'll put a key here. And then I go down here. And then I put the reach to 0. Maybe not 0, maybe just a little bit. 20. So now I can play with the key, right? See, like see here, he goes a little wobbly and then he goes up. So I can play with the offset of the keys. And we'll do the same here. Key. Oh, everything okay? You're welcome. So it is. All right. Somebody's mic is on. It's Antoine. Yeah, okay, that's all right. So when he goes back down, I'll just put that to 20, I think I used. Maybe I can offset this one a little bit. That's a little bit better. So see, animating these values will give you a way better result than the story mode. So you're asking me, what do I do with this now? I can't use it in story mode, but yes, you can. So what do you do after this? We bake to be able to use that clip on Pepe in our assembly file, if you want to call it, like the previous file where you're putting everything together. What do we do is, let me save this scene actually first. I'll just call it retarget mapping. So anybody wants to tell me how to do it? All right. So bake to control rig. So we want to take this motion that we just retargeted from this guy and bake it on the control rig of Pepe. Okay, so what do we do? Bake, control rig, 3 dots. There's no IK, there's no control rig yet, so we're creating one and baking at the same time. Yep, keep everything as is. No key reducer, and we only have one take, so we don't need that. 30 FPS and bake. So now Pepe has his own control rig, right? So Pepe, rename Pepe control rig. So now, there we go. So you're probably saying, okay, but we're still missing. You can probably delete these keys for the pulls now because we don't need the pulls anymore, right? So I believe it was the hands. F curves. IK pull. And delete those. We don't really need them. Because now all the keys are baked at the control rig, so we don't need these keys anymore. Let me see. Yep. Because the pull was only on the retargeting part. So just to give you a little taste of layers. So now what you can do, everything looks good except the passing through here. So normally layers, you work with layers after you finish your story mode, right? So we have 3 weeks to build your story, your film in story mode, inside story mode. But then after, don't worry about like things passing through or attaching props properly or anything. You're building the building blocks of your story, getting all the clips, all the motions, the cameras. That's super important in those 3 weeks. After those 3 weeks, we get out of story mode and then start polishing a little bit on layers. And what I mean by polishing, it's stuff like this. So the hands here are passing through. So what do we do is we create a layer and we try to fix these issues because we couldn't fix it with the retard. We got it closer to a better motion, but it's still not perfect. So we need to fix the hands passing through. Actually, before I fix it on a layer, what I like to do is I like to duplicate this and call it, let's say, whatever you need, hands polish. Okay, because this way you still have a backup, the raw version, and whatever you're going to do on a layer. So this way, if something happens, you delete something by mistake, you have a backup. So layers, what are layers? It's the same concept as in Maya. You tweak body parts on a layer so you don't destroy the base animation, which is the base animation layer is here. That's why layers are a big help. So I want to tweak the parts where he's like contacting with both. So I'll be switching to body part. I'll put a key here because I know this has to change. And I'll go to the key where it's good. For example, here. So this is the same thing as I would, if some of you remember, I used the 0 key. So the 0 key, its function is to, I'll show you what it is. So let's say I move this hand and rotate. So the 0 key puts it back what it looks like on the base layer. It basically zeroes out the rotation and position and puts it the same as the base layer. So that's the function of the 0 key. So I could have either put a 0 key here because I don't want to change this. This is fine. Or I would just press K before modifying this one, basically. Okay, so I like this pose. I'm just gonna push it a little bit. So you have a choice. You can either modify one hand or you can modify both, depending on your motion that you need to modify. So it's a little bit broken, like it's going up too much. I'm just gonna bring it down. This one is fine. And now, so notice I only changed one key, okay? Which is the contact basically. It's still a little bit funky at some parts, but we have a good base, right? So what I'm going to do next, maybe I'll put another key. Maybe it's this one. Once it starts going back, it kind of passes through. So maybe I'll put another key here and let's see what that looks like. Yeah. So it's a bit of a long process, but there's no magic way. You stuff like this, you have to do it kind of manually. There's no magic way of doing it. So in general, it's not that bad. I'll delete this key because it's giving me a better, the second key that I put, it's giving me better overall, less penetration with the hand. What you could do, so what we could do too is maybe we can tweak the other arm. Oh, we have a refresh bug. So see here, there's a refresh bug. I'm using 2020. Don't use 2020. So I'm in body part. I only keyed this one. If I deselect and I choose, notice there's still keys here. This is funky. There shouldn't be any keys because I have nothing selected. If I choose the head, okay, the keys just disappeared after I deleted those keys. Okay, so just be wary. If you're on body part and you select another hand, but you still see keys here, just save your scene and reload it. There's a few issues. If you're working with 2020, you shouldn't have these issues with 2018. If you do, just save your scene close Motionbuilder, reopen it. I've seen this before actually, even in 2018, so just be wary of that. So now it's good. So now I want to select the other hand and key this part a little bit. So I'll just bring it out a little bit and a little bit of rotation like I did with the other one, just to see if it's going to give me an overall better, I would say less penetration overall. So notice what I did here. I only put a key here, but now I messed up the standing pose, right? So if I mute the layer, it's a little bit different. So what do I do here? Oops, I can zero out here because I don't want to touch the beginning. Look at that, way better. I'm just gonna play it. This is really good. I mean, it's totally fine. We don't need to go more polished than this. It's still a previs, so I wouldn't go more further. So I will put another key here. The reason I'm putting a key here because I want the same offsets I put here on both hands. I want it to be here because he's still clapping at this point. And then once he starts going down, I put a zero key here to put back the oh boy, here's that refresh bug again. What's going on, mobile? Why are you making my life miserable? There we go. See? So now if I mute the layer, look at the difference. Loop. Beautiful, right? We can fix the fingers too. Please don't keep... So this is again for polish after maybe the last 2 weeks of the previs. But when you get there, just make sure, please, you have nice natural finger poses. All I'm asking is just one pose. That's all I'm asking. And so we can move it up a little bit. Yeah, Pepe is really weird for rigging. Just be careful with that. If you choose him, he's got some problems. Let me see what's going on here. Why he doesn't show the... maybe he doesn't have fingers, does he? Oh, he does, because the FK... Yeah, so you guys remember when I showed you the FK rig and the IK rig? So sometimes the IK rig is right on top of the FK rig. So if you select it and you're doing rotation, it rotates the whole chain of the finger. So if you want a better pose on the finger, just hide the IK rig and use those FK rigs to get a better pose. Okay? You don't have to worry about switching IK and FK. So all you need to worry about is animating the different ones. Ooh, skinning problems. It's breaking. All right, so something like this, a little bit more natural. Yeah, I think it's really open. Let's try to bring it in a little bit. Maybe try repositioning. Okay, and now I don't think I showed you guys this. Post control, you can take this pose that you did here and mirror it on the other hand. Okay, so pose control, quick quick overview. You create a pose. Let's say you select. So when you create a pose, you're creating a pose for the entire body. So when you create this, it's not what you see here. It's actually a pose per control rig on each. So the information saved in this pose. I don't. You can rename it. The information saved in this pose is for each body part. Okay, so I want to be able to paste these finger poses on this hand. So what do? I just click mirror, make sure that I'm in body part. Otherwise, if you keep full body and you paste your pose with these matching options, it will paste everything opposite side, okay? And we don't want that. We just want to paste the fingers in body part mirrored on the other hand. So body part, mirror, paste. Cool. And we put a key, and then yeah, I like it better when I was when I was open. So what we can do here when he's, you know, maybe as soon as he's like this, yeah, it's a little messed up. Then we can do 0 key, right? To open it up, we can animate a little bit of the fingers. Yeah. So we can take these keys, Control plus the other one, or go like this, and just bring this key to bend them a little bit. And then in here, as he's going down, if I take off the mirroring now, and I paste this pose, which was created from this frame, all right, so this frame, when I created this pose on this frame, it only had the right hand. So I would just need to update it, and then go here and paste it. Good. So now we have the perfect clap. But we're still working individually on this clip by itself. I want to bring it in to my assembly file where all the other clips are. So make sure you're on full body. Either use bake to control rig again, or I would say bake, actually but this is better, bake to skeleton, and then bake to control rig. I don't think I showed you guys this one, how to save. So let's try this one. Let's try it. Instead of putting it in story mode and exporting it, make sure you're in Pepe, go File, Save. I will name it Clip, or use the same, Retargeting Clapping Clip. And which take do I need? I need the clapping hands. Oops. Yeah, that's good. Keep everything by default. Save. And then I'm gonna create a new take to show you that the import works. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to open Pepe by himself and bring in that story mode. That's a safer bet. Okay. So now we have Pepe typos, no takes, nothing. Create a character track, assign Pepe, and insert that clip we just saved. Retard clapping clip. There we go. And let it play the funky music. See? And now you can mix and match it with something else. So that's retargeting. Retargeting is, you know, when you tell this character to follow another character, you tweak the IK pulls and the IK blends and the what's it called, the reach, the pull, sorry, the pull, I keep mixing these up. You tweak it a little bit because, you know, if you compare, let's compare actually, yeah, that's a good point. I want to compare before we started the layer. That's what I wanted to do before doing the layers. So this is the raw, right? This is still, oh, Pepe is still, no, he's on the controller. So Pepe is on the controller, we baked it, okay? So I just want to show you the comparison. If you use it as is without retargeting. So I'm bringing in the clapping as is, right? And you know, the way I did it in the beginning, just to show you the difference now. So this is the difference. Story mode is on. Look at the legs are hyperextending, the arms are higher, they're going inside each other. But when I use retargeting, oh, he's a little bit floaty too. I just noticed that. It's okay, that can be easily fixed anyway. Oh, that's why, see, when I used the poles, it actually brought his feet up, which is okay. You can bring it down afterwards with the clip when you move the clip. So see how more natural the arms are, the legs. That's the advantage of using the retargeting. It gives you a little bit better control, overall control of the motion. Instead of going in and trying to fix all this by hand on a layer, you go like, let's say 70% and sometimes 80% there with the retargeting. It's not going to fix everything. And then you go on a layer and fix the other 20 or 30%. Cool? Cool. Any questions on this? It's not, it's less technical than C3D for sure, but it might help you if you're using smaller characters or bigger ones. The ones that are coming from Mixamo are pretty good, the sizes. There's a couple of, you know, those big ones, the monsters. You might have to do retargeting for these just to get a better mocap. But the ones in the clip art, Argor is 2 meters, 2 meters. Beast, I think this is a quadruped. Yeah, quadruped. That's cool. If somebody wants to animate a can do quadrupeds in Motionbuilder. If somebody's up for the challenge. This guy 2 meters. This is another quadruped, 2 meter, 2 meter, 2 meter. Gremlin is a little bit shorter. So Gremlin and Pepe are the only two. Willard is a little bit bigger. Normally bigger should retarget okay. Actually, let's try it out of curiosity. Previews. Clapping. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, he's in stance, that's why. Yeah, no, same problems. His arms are way too long, so. Yeah, it could benefit from a retarget. His legs are okay. He's a little bit relaxed on the legs, but the arms are going through.